Hello, people of YouTube. It's Deepak here, and welcome to the DCS news for the 4th of January 2025, our first news show for 2025, in fact. That was my most recent video in the tutorial series all about the AH-64D Apache, demonstrating how to do the taxi and the takeoff. Some difficulties there fighting the SAS modes, trying to get different hold modes to engage. It's actually not quite as difficult, really, as I make it look. So with a bit of practice, I think you'll all manage just fine. The procedures are accurate, but my flying of the aircraft is not amazing. Hopefully, still a useful tutorial nonetheless. Next week we'll proceed with some more stuff in the Apache. Welcome to the stream, Tog. Sorry that you and the family are not feeling well today. Welcome Tea Kettle Barbecue, Orleans Junkie, asking about the sniper pod and 2025 and beyond. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Welcome to Colin Kelly, welcome JP Gibbons, welcome Pink Floyd, Byron Farrow, Hyena, Only Napalm, Exorcist. Welcome everybody to the stream. It's nice to have you all aboard. And as is often the case these days, we also have the one and only John Bloor with us today. Hello.
Hello, hello. How you doing, man?
Not too bad. Say nice to all the happy people. Hello. I'm having
nice
a
to all
stroke.
the happy people.
Yes, say hello to all the nice people. We've got Brain 051, we've got Mark S, we've got Golden Gnu. I love your tutorials, so much information packed into every one of them. Thank you very much, despite me not being a very good helicopter pilot. Tech Gaming 45, Tiger Moto, Mark S. I didn't think there'd be anything to talk about today. There's not that much, but there actually are still some things. There were some Facebook posts. The Evil Empire Facebook has some posts for us to review, so we'll take a quick look at those today. But no newsletter. Irish Pat 64, interesting story. Mike Delta, lots of people there. Remember, if you haven't already, to subscribe, like, and comment. It's a really big help to me and to the channel. As I said, we have John Bloor with us today. Check out twitch.tv/John Bloor for all of his amazing content. And feel free to tell us a little bit about the kind of things you're doing on Twitch these days, Mr. John.
These days, yeah. So I managed to get some in over the Christmas period. Had a couple of weeks off. Mostly was doing the Kiowa, as the Apache George has been very ceremoniously broken. And I tend to fly solo on that one. But yeah, mostly rotor wing ops on DCS on Twitch. Occasionally do illustration, but there's not been any projects yet that I've been wanting to dive in on and do illustration stuff. But hopefully at some point we'll do that again. But yeah, that's about it really. Just blowing stuff up. And I had a quick go on the Gazelle the other day as well. I forgot how good that thing flies. It's a really nice helicopter to fly. You get spoiled a little bit with the Kiowa, and then you get in the Gazelle, and you're like, "Wow, it's not screaming at me about mass talk." Wow.
Yeah, it's still a little underpowered, but not nearly as bad. Like if you have a full combat load on it, it's a little bit underpowered, but it's maneuverable as hell. Like I don't think I've flown. Oh, actually, apart from the Loach, yeah, it kind of flies like the Loach. Actually, now that I think about it, because the Loach is also sort of almost too maneuverable for its own good. And the Gazelle is sort of like that as well.
I've seen some people when they get it in it the first time, or they haven't flown it for a while, they'll forget, especially because is it left skid up or right skid up? I can't remember, but because the rotor blades go the other way compared to the others, you're used to. I think I'm always used to putting in one way or other. It's one of those things. It's like asking me how do I tie my shoelaces. I can't remember now, but yeah, whatever one it is, it's the opposite. So it's not only that, but you've also got it's the other skid that goes up. So yeah. I've seen people. I nearly did it the first time round. I nearly tipped it over and ripped the rotor blades half, completely off. But it's a fun. Once you get in it, it's such a fun helicopter fly.
That's why they always tell you slowly feed in collective and encounter any movements. Because if you do that, it almost doesn't matter. You don't need to use your memory. You just react to what the helicopter is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's the way. Mr. Yeti, it's been a while. He's actually been to the Kola map in real life. He flew into Ivalo, Finland, and he can vouch for it being very snowy. I've actually been to Finland recently as well, and yes, it's cold. Even coming from Sweden, Finland is bloody cold. Mr. Yeti also likes the Gazelle. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Yeah, I need to do some more flying in the in the Kiowa as well.
Mm.
But yeah, just getting to grips with the Apache right now, and flying the Apache is actually really really nice. I really like the iHads.
Mm.
Like I normally fly in VR, and so be able to sit there and just like look around, all your symbology is right there, glued to your
Mm.
face the whole time. It makes it much easier to fly. It's
Does it
very
does
very
it
nice.
feel like it's because I haven't had put a VR headset on in forever, and I certainly haven't played in DCS. Does it feel like it's this far away? Does that
Yeah,
make sense? Like, does it have that kind of depth perception for it? That's really cool.
yeah.
I need to try that at some point.
The positioning is correct, and you can configure it in the special options so that it only renders on one eye.
Mm,
Um, Although
that's
for
cool.
some reason I had difficulty with that because I think by default it's over the right eye, and maybe I'm
Mm,
left eye dominant or something. So
mm.
I actually found it difficult. So I just flipped it and told it, no, render it in both eyes. But of course that's not realistic.
Were you
Uh,
getting really into it and putting bin bag up on the windows and flying? Is it in the box? Is
yes.
it the box that they call it? Flying in the box to get used to it. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe I just need I need to patch my left eye and
Yeah.
just learn to deal with it.
What
But
does he do in Firebirds? Doesn't he get a periscope or something and he tapes it to his face, isn't he? He has to walk
yes,
around for ages, isn't it? That's it.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Great film.
And the thing is that only really applies. Tell me if I'm wrong, chat, but I think that only really applies if you're using the Pinvis or similar, because
Yeah.
or I guess if you feed the TADS video through it, it might feel like that as well.
Mm,
But
yeah.
but yeah, like if you're just using the symbology, you don't need to do that
Yeah.
because everything's in the same plane. So
Yeah.
it doesn't make any doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Uh, Chico Kishi, VR is absolutely a must in DCS. I've got to say, since I started flying in VR, which was in about 2016, so for me it's been 8 or 9 years now, I've been flying like that. I've never
Mm,
wanted to go back.
yeah.
However, of course, when I'm doing my filming for YouTube, I do it in 2D. Like I've done various experiments of filming in VR,
Mm,
and like I don't know it you can get really good results. I've got some nice videos from VR,
mm,
but it makes some people feel a little bit weird.
mm. It can have that little bit of shake. The other thing I've noticed sometimes, is depending on the headset, is it kind of the center point is kind of across slightly, isn't it? Like, so
Yeah.
you're kind of, because it's obviously basing it mostly on one eye or
Yes.
one of
It,
them.
it,
So
it only takes the output from a single eye,
yeah, yeah.
so
So
things
yeah.
are never quite right. Channel right. I noticed there's a CM400 cruise missile hidden in DCS. It's workable but not refined for the JF-17. I wonder if it'll be officially added this year. Actually, Deca
Ooh.
Ironworks simulations. I don't know if they've like officially confirmed that they're going to add it, but that like the understanding is that they're going to add it. Yes.
Yeah.
Tiger Moto Deepak is Nick Cage confirmed?
Mm.
Huh?
Nick Cage is in what do you call it? Firebirds. He's the main guy in Firebirds,
Ah,
isn't he? The Apache film. Yeah,
right.
he's the guy
Okay.
he goes, I am the greatest. I am the greatest when he's in this flight sim. It's awful, but it's got Sean Young back in the day, which is nice. Always good to see her, and it's just you can tell it was the army, the U.S. Army, trying to do the Top Gun for the Apache.
Oh
You
yeah.
can tell that's
Yeah.
what they're trying to basically do, and it fails miserably, but it's weirdly charming. And Tommy Lee Jones is in it as well, and he's just being Tommy Lee Jones, just his usual aloof, kind of irascible self. It's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah. Uh, Michael is laughing at me because I'm left eye dominant. Okay.
But what do they call that nowadays? Ableist.
I don't even know. Like, is it common to be right eye dominant? I
I
don't
don't
even
know.
know.
You left eye dominant people, get
Yeah,
out of here.
I didn't even think that was a thing. But anyway, um, Pink Floyd never tried VR. Need a DCS plus VR for Dummies video. Yeah, it can be a little bit fiddly, but there are good posts in the forums. I just followed posts in the forums to set up OpenXR, and from
Mm.
that point forwards, I was fine. Oh, okay, okay.
In it.
So he
Oh.
okay. So Michael is actually quoting the film. He's not, in fact, making fun of me. I
Okay, there you
appreciate
go.
that. Thank you.
There you go.
Called Gnu as long as he is dominant.
Yeah.
Fly by Gospel. It's got the Kiowa and Apache. Great cheesy
Yeah,
movie.
it
I
is.
saw it as a kid, but I cannot remember it now. So yeah, this is
It's
all going over my head.
it's definitely like late night. You got a beer and a kebab, Like it's a fucking great film for that. It's brilliant.
Amedan.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, we don't have a newsletter this week, but we have some choice little news niblets for you. Choice news niblets. So let's go and grab those and see what we've got. On the Evil Empire Facebook, we have this post from India Foxed Echo, a DCS G91 project update. The DCS team has made significant progress with the G91 configuration and weapon system. So here's a quick update on where we are with this. And they want us to know that textures and models are work in progress. So yeah, everything will look better. Honest. So we're gonna have Mark 81, Mark 82, Mark 83, low drag, snake eye, and air versions, LR25 rocket pods, LAU3 rocket pods, cluster bombs, and we're going to be getting the AIM 9B. Although the designers of the time had already equipped the aircraft with a dedicated system for this missile, flight tests never yielded positive results due to the Seeker's inability to lock onto heat sources. So this is another case where in real life they didn't really have them. They tested the configuration and then didn't use it. But actually, the thing is, we've had the AIM 9B on the Sabre, so we're already familiar with how absolutely trash the missile is. Like I've got a video. One of my earliest DCS videos, in fact, was me demonstrating how to use the AIM 9B on the Sabre, because at the time there was no procedure for it in the early access manual. Because this was back when the F-86 Sabre was early access. That's how long I've been doing this, people. And so I figured out a procedure myself and demonstrated it, and I was able to launch the missiles and down aircraft. But like, you can't be pulling more than 2G. It locks onto the sun. It locks onto flares. The contrast is rubbish. Like, I don't even think it has coolant. So like, it's a super insensitive Seeker. It's completely rubbish.
It can't pull much either, can it? Like it literally, as soon as you pull a
2G.
tight turn, it 2G, and that's it. It's nothing, isn't it? It's nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Michael, AIM 9B is radar controlled, right? No, that's the AIM 9C you're thinking of.
Yeah. That's the one that got turned into the sidearm, didn't it? They had a surplus of them.
Correct.
And they rewired them and used them for the sidearms. Yeah.
Because my understanding is the AIM 9C never really took off. So like they built a bunch of them. In the end, they didn't like them. They managed to improve the heat seeker versions and just use them. Then I think basically all the remaining AIM 9Cs were turned into sidearms.
Yeah, and I think the AIM 9C was used on the Crusader. I think it was I think it's the only aircraft that used it, but I don't know if it went into like a theater with it or whatever. It was designed for it, and I think they carried them, but yeah, it didn't work well. It's a bit like, is it the Falcon, AIM 4 Falcon, which eventually like got modified into the Phoenix? But a lot of those that era, that even the Sparrow, they were just trashed. A lot of those missiles.
Yeah.
I mean, for the time, it's amazing stuff, but yeah, you're talking ridiculously low hit rates.
Well, yeah, like early versions of the Sparrow had like some ridiculously high failure rate. I forget, it was like 50, 60, 70% failure rate in some of the early models. So, it took them a while to get it right.
Yeah.
Mr. Yeti, it was called Wings of the Apache in the UK. The VHS version from Blockbuster always got a little fuzzy for the naughty bits due to previous hires rewinding that particular bit. Good old days. Naughty bits? I don't remember there being naughty bits. I don't remember that,
yeah. Did I ever tell you about my Top Gun story? Did I say that? Tell you about the Top Gun story?
No.
Okay, it's because this is a perfect segue. I'm gonna tell you guys about a Top Gun story, right? So,
is this about pausing a video at just the right moment?
Yeah. So basically, back in the day, I was one of 6 kids, right? And my parents, we couldn't afford go to the cinema. We certainly couldn't afford to buy new VHS. This is a VHS tape era as well. So you'd have, as you remember, it used to be on TV, wouldn't it? And then you'd what we had is we had a video recorder
with a timer function.
With a timer function, and then what you do is they'd watch it, and they would obviously pause the record when it went to the adverts.
Yes.
And then they'd restart it. So they were very.
This was always the task for your tech savvy father to do it perfectly.
perfect timing, because if you do it right, you'd be right. And generally speaking, when they made films and they would put the adverts, they would be pretty good at breaking them up and putting them at the scene changes.
Yes.
So anyway, we had a copy for years and years of Top Gun. But even my brother drew the Top Gun logo like really deep in biro on the side of it, right? So we had this version, and that was the version I'd seen for years and years and years. I'd seen this version that my parents had taped. So keep in mind, just put that back in your head. My parents really good at my dad or whatever was really good at pausing it and recording.
Uh-huh.
So I remember watching it, and I was like, yeah, Top Gun was kind of cool. And then a couple years ago, I'm not even that long ago, about 5 or 6 years ago, I was like, you know what? I haven't actually watched Top Gun from start to finish, because it's that kind of osmosis film, isn't it? You feel like you've seen it even if you haven't seen it in forever.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm going to watch it, and so I got hold of a Blu-ray copy. I want to watch it in Blu-ray. I'll see if it holds up. So I'm watching this film, and I forget that I didn't forget. I'm watching it, and it gets to the bit where obviously Top Gun, he's not called Top Gun, Tom Cruise, Maverick, and then there's what's the actress's name again? The blonde.
Oh, I
Blonde
can't
right?
remember, but I know.
You know
I
the
know.
take my breath away bit, right?
Yeah.
And it gets to that bit, and he's driving around, he's all moody on the motorcycle. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay. Now, what I always thought it was as a kid, I could put two and two together. So I'm thinking, okay, this is like, to my memory, they go back to his place, you know, they start smooching, and it cuts to him driving away on the motorcycle, right? So, and that's my memory of it. So I'm watching this new version, and it gets like pretty raunchy. I'm
It
like,
does.
bloody hell.
Yeah,
So I'm like, okay,
I've watched it not that long ago, and I remember.
yeah. So I'm like, I'm getting the back of the Blu-ray. I'm like, is this like director's cut version? Is this like the X-rated version? I was like, no, it's just my parents were so good at hitting that bit. They must have perfectly edited it out.
Yes.
Because I remember they must have perfectly gone from scene to scene. So I watched a version, my own PG version of Top. There was a family PG version of Top Gun that I watched, and it
And that's the
wasn't until
thing,
years
like
later.
that's easy to do with that film because it really only has that one scene, which is kind of
Yeah,
more adult. The rest of it is probably pretty child friendly, I think.
yeah, yeah.
So,
It's
good,
just
good,
wild. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
good
So yeah,
job,
so
John's parents.
yeah. So moral of the story: my parents were good people, and they didn't corrupt me, at least not that early. And also, yeah, VHS taping for the win. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Michael, yeah, but apparently the sidearm in the Harrier is fictitious. No, it was used. The only thing is that the entire stockpile was fired. So,
Yeah.
in the present day, it's fictitious, but at the right time period, it did exist, and it was
Yeah.
used on that Harrier. Carolee Molnar, hello. Channel right, I have a 4070S and VR works fine. Obviously, anything outside the cockpit isn't as sharp as on a flat screen, but it looks fine.
Yeah.
Interesting story, Kelly McGillis.
Kelly
There we
McGillis.
go.
That's her. Yeah.
Hyena, is there any news for the AIM-9E in DCS? No, I've never heard anyone talk about the AIM-9E. What's special about that?
I don't know. Which one's the AIM-9E?
I don't even know. I'm looking it up now.
Yeah.
What is special about the AIM-9E?
I don't know. I'm just looking.
The
Because I
E,
know they branched, didn't they? Because you basically had the USAF versions and then you had the Navy versions, but they were kind of
yeah, the
parallel to each
the E
other.
was an Air Force version. It appeared in Vietnam. It had it expanded the weapons acquisition envelope, especially in low altitude fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It had new electronics, complete redesign, and it had cooling.
I guess I mean, I don't want to simplify it, but it's probably because they've already got so many versions of the AIM-9. I guess it would just be tweaking values,
Yeah,
creating a 3D model and tweaking values until it kind of did what it should.
yeah. Karoy, hi, I haven't been here in a long time. Are there any updates for the Harrier yet? No. And I would suspect there never will be,
Yeah.
to be totally honest. However, ED have promised that they won't break it, so it should continue to work, but it's very unlikely to ever receive any updates. What else we got? Tech Gaming 45, no updates for Razban products. Correct. No updates for Razban products. Again, I would not expect to see anything at all. The only one that ED might be motivated to do something about is the Strike Eagle. I would assume they're going to find some kind of a solution to that particular problem, but I think M2000C Harrier MiG-19, you're out of luck. They're going to be as they are. And to be fair, I've flown the M2000C and the Harrier both a lot. There's nothing wrong with either of those aircraft, so they don't particularly need anything done. I think they're fine as is.
I think someone said on one of the previous videos that one of the cluster bombs is a bit balked at the moment for the Harrier, but that's more to do with ED and their fusing, isn't it?
ED maintain the weapons, and the thing is actually that there's a post in the forums telling you how to make it work.
Oh, cool.
You have to tweak the fuse settings. Like the bomb does work, but the default fuse that it comes with doesn't work. So you have to mount the weapon and then click on the little yellow triangle and then change the type of fuse, and then it does work. Has been my experience. And you're going to ask me which fuse, and I now can't remember. But I know in 3 Squadron we did a bunch of testing and we tried different fuses, and we found the one that works. So you can make it work.
Maybe you should do a video, the 50 likes video, and it's like literally a 20-second video, and it's just if you give 50 likes, you get a video, and it's just 20 seconds. You go, use that fuse.
Use that fuse.
That's it.
that fuse make cluster go boom. Because what actually happens is the cluster doesn't fuse, so the casing just goes all the way down and hits the target and doesn't do anything. Yeah. Whereas if you choose the correct fuse, it will activate at the correct altitude and burst, which is better, obviously. Didn't the M2000C have a problem with the G limiter? It did, and ED fixed it.
Yeah.
So that's no longer a problem. Channel Right, I wonder if ED will replace Razbam products with slightly different versions. In the case of the Strike Eagle, maybe. That's one of the possible solutions. In the case of the Mirage and the Harrier, I don't see why they would do that. No. So, yeah, maybe. Chico, so did Razbam leave? I wondered how that situation worked out. Well, all of their developers didn't get paid and left the company. So Razbam is literally just Ron Zambrano and his brother, as of right now. So, yeah. Razbam left DCS development, as far as we can tell.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the situation. Anyway, back on the G91, they're working on a specific launcher for the HVAR rockets. The G91 could carry from 3 to a maximum of 6 rockets per pylon. And they show us in the screenshots, which I'll bring up in a moment. Lastly, but no less important, we want to show you a very preliminary version of the AS-20 Nord missile and its dedicated launcher. Full integration with the aircraft, including the ability for the pilot to control it remotely, is planned in the next quarter. We're also working on other weapons for the G91, such as the LAU-32BA, LAU-51BA rocket pods, as well as the capability to take off using JATO rockets. How Cold War is that?
That's awesome.
And they're evaluating adding napalm. So here you go. And as they said at the beginning, models and textures are work in progress, so it will look better later. This is kind of cool. Here it is carrying the sidewinders that apparently in real life it never had. Very naughty. Oh, and for some reason Facebook wants me... Facebook won't let me look at any more pictures. What's going on? Oh, right. Give me a sec. It's giving away my email address. What is it doing? Right, let me try and bring these up again. Right, here we go. Oh, right. After a couple of clicks, it always tries to bring up this login page.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Facebook is even more annoying than it used to be in the past. It's now desperately trying to get me to create an account.
Reddit does that, because what's really irritating, I refuse to create a Reddit account, because it's another hellscape in a different way. Yeah. And then most Reddit posts, like, you can see the first bit, and then if you try and click more, it locks you out, and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah, really annoying. I hate Instagram does this as well, and Pinterest, and like everybody's doing this now. There is no... there's no freedom to be had. Sam Eggleton, Razbam exit is bad, as we no longer are going to get the MiG-23. No realistic rival for the Cold War birds, F4 for instance. Yeah, that's true. I agree. Razbam were a great developer, and I really liked their products. But yeah, sadly, it would seem they are gone.
This is just not much of a silver lining, really isn't. But the only thing about the MiG-23 is just because they they got them pretty far on it, but not like it didn't seem like it was maybe past 50% mark. It's difficult to tell, right? But what it does do is if they aren't doing it, that does mean it is now free for someone else to pick up. It's not
Yeah.
much of a silver lining, but you have got other competent people out there. You've got people like Edges, they'd be fantastic for something like that. Whether that would be their SO, I'm not sure. But you've also got people like Avius Storm, even Heat Blur, although I think they've got their hands full. There's other people who might pick up or even Decker. Decker would be a good one. I know they're China, but still, it's that kind of red force. So that's the only thing, because I thought about that the MiG 23. It would have filled a gap so perfect. The MiG 23. There is a gap that it would just perfectly neatly drop into, and it's a good foil for like the F4, and then between that the F14. Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but it's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
Alexander says, BN, who's that again?
Big
Nui?
Nui.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Big
Big
Nui
Nui.
from ED Discord said they still can't comment because lawyers are now involved. Well, I
Yeah.
think lawyers have been involved for more than a year.
Mhm.
But yeah, they have nothing to announce. But it's clear that Razbam are not developing for DCS anymore.
No.
Mr. Yeti, Ron was advertising some module for BMS just before Christmas. Was it for BMS? I thought it was for Microprose.
I don't know. It's BMS because I know they own the rights to Falcon, don't they? They bought it back, Microprose. So whether it's going to be for 4 or 5 or I don't know, something like that, isn't it? Was it
Could
was
be.
it Mirage D? Was it 2000 D? Wasn't it?
I
It's a
don't know.
two-seater Mirage, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Certainly nothing for DCS.
No.
Chico, I bought the G91 from MSFS as soon as I saw it. I'm so excited for a DCS version.
Yeah.
Golden Gnu, yeah, I can finally email Deepak. I don't. Please don't.
These are email these things. It just put you in the junk folder.
Indeed. And then something else we got on Facebook. Avius Storm posted this. Happy New Year, leaving 2024 in the rearview mirror and onwards to 2025. This is, in fact, a tornado.
Mm-hmm. It's a tornado. It's there.
Yeah. And this looks very much like the German bomblet dispenser.
Mm-hmm. What it's called now.
Which I don't remember. Yeah,
Did it begin with a
because
B or something? I can't
no,
remember
that's
now.
the RAF one. So the
Yeah.
RAF one is called like a BL something something something. And this is the German version, which is different but does the same thing. Like you can basically scatter a lot of effectively anti-personnel mines over a wide area. It's the kind of thing that's banned these days.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, very, very banned.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is cool. Although it's just a single screenshot. Show us some more. Give us some videos. Show us some more of the cockpit. Actually, the renders that they showed off earlier in the year, they were untextured, but they looked great. JP233, thank you, Mr. Yeti. And this German one is the MW1. Thank you, Tech Gaming 45. You're both correct. I remember as soon as I see it.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd looks like an F-111 that didn't eat breakfast. And yeah, this is the German IDS version. So effectively something like a GR1.
Yeah.
Pretty early, but still very capable aircraft. So
I had another look around their Discord after they popped this out, and just to look at some of their frequently asked questions and stuff, and they said that whilst it will release with RAF liveries, they won't rule out adding some RAF specific weapons and systems and stuff down the line. And they even said, "Oh, is there a question like, would you consider doing another variant?" And they're like, "Look, we've got our hands full, but we certainly won't say no." So I would imagine the tooling, so to speak, to turn this into a GR1 is probably not too much. So I can imagine they would probably go down that route. Again, it's always access to systems, isn't it? And modeling it accurately and things. But I think the GR1 was pretty damn close to the IDS, isn't it, as far as systems go? I mean, that was the whole point, wasn't it, with the Panavia all working together.
yeah.
Yeah, so and that's all Dom bombs. I think, did they get the tie-outs in the tie-out pods in Desert Storm?
I don't
Did
know.
they have targeting pods in Desert Storm? I think like maybe a few did, maybe. So,
Yeah.
but if you just omit that, you've pretty much got the same thing.
Because I'm pretty sure at least at the beginning of the war they were using Buccaneers for
Yeah,
designation.
yeah,
So
they're
that would
bloody lazy.
suggest they didn't have them.
Yeah.
Memphis Belle stating it's an anti-runway dispenser. That is correct. It is an anti-runway dispenser. However, it has a mixture of bomblet types. So even though it's designed to destroy runways, there are bomblets that explode immediately. There are bomblets that explode on a timer, and there are tamper triggered bomblets. So it actually has like multiple types all mixed in. So yeah, it's very, very nasty.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of thing that the Luftwaffe or the RF would really be employing these days.
Mm.
Tiled in D's, yes, they did. I'm not 100%
Yes.
sure what that means, but yeah,
Oh,
I
Desert Storm. Yeah.
for Desert Storm, certainly not at the beginning because I know that the Buccaneer was doing that duty.
Mm.
And maybe Jaguars as well. I think Jaguars were able to designate,
Yeah.
but not tornadoes, not at first.
No, not at first. No.
Area denial weapon. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Then we have the progress tracker from Granelli Designs for their F100D Super Sabre. You were pointing this one out to me, John. This is rather cool looking. So yeah, we're 66% on the art progress, 82% on code, and 74% overall. Please note these numbers are subject to change and they are just estimates. But you get this nice overview where it tells you where each kind of part of the development is, which is rather nice. And then also they have these little node things that you can kind of navigate around. Like this one's the electrical system. It's a basic layout of the electrical system, and then you can zoom in and go into some crazy details with all these different nodes and how they're all wired together. So yeah, this looks rather interesting. You could certainly muck around with this quite a bit. And then we've got the data points from the flight model tests, which look pretty consistent to me at a peak.
It's a really nicely, I'm a graphic designer by career, and it's a really nicely designed website with like really nicely put together infographics. It's really, really nice. You rarely see that. That little video is quite cool. You have to watch out for audio on it, music and stuff. But basically, that little thing there, it's like a tree that starts growing as they start. You can see as the little people are moving around. There you go. And they basically, you can see how they've been progressing. They must be using some sort of project tracker
Yeah.
to have all this raw analytics, and then they put the project tracker into some sort of really nice infographics. You can see how people are moving around. It looks like something from like what do you call it? Space Engineers or something like the game, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very cool. It's very, very cool. A nice
Really, really cool stuff.
visualization. Very
Yeah.
nice. But yeah,
It'd be nice.
this is grenalidesigns.com/progress if you want to take a look at this yourselves.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But yeah, they just updated this just the other day, so I think they've done a chunk, or they've told us they've done a chunk. Thing is, I think the fact that what's the art code at? 82%, did it say?
They said
Or
art
the
was at
code?
66.
Art is 60 and then code. I mean, artwork is difficult to do. Don't get me wrong, but like the fact that the code is at 82%, that's pretty good. That's really good.
Yeah.
It's not. I'd imagine a lot of this stuff will come together quite quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look in there as well, everything's either in progress or testing.
Yes.
Or complete. There's no not started yet. So it looks like they're doing a fantastic job of this. They've really stepped up because this was the guy who did the F22 mod, didn't he? And he'd done a couple other little ones as well.
That's right, he did. Yes, there was an F22 mod. In fact, that might even still be. Yeah, there it is. It's still on this website.
Yeah. Oh, and they did the Reliant shuttle as well, didn't they? From Top Gear. They put that into DCS as well. That's hilarious.
And there's they list here the Wright Flyer.
Yeah.
Is this for DCS?
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, looks like it is.
It's the Wright Flyer for DCS. It has an external flight model.
That's so funny.
An interactive cockpit. Okay, wow. That's pretty wild. I didn't know he had this.
Yeah.
What's Project Hat? Okay, so he's got a balloon.
Yep.
There's a hot air balloon. There's an extra 330. An Edge 540. Oh, and you can make racing pylons.
That's really cool.
That's really nice. F-22A.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Alrighty, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out.
Mm.
Granelli Designs. Got some nice updates there. And
Mm.
then we've got this. Yeah, what do we
Yeah.
say about this? Uh,
Beautiful.
2025
Yeah.
and beyond, January 16th. Now, I was talking about this a bit earlier and saying that this is a bit of a delay. Like
Mm.
in most of the previous years, they've put out this video like last week of the previous year or first week of the next year. So this one's a
Mm.
little bit later, but I can only assume they're trying to polish something up before they show it off to us. And given the
Mm.
top half of the image, I would have to assume it's the dynamic campaign.
Yeah, yeah. So, because I was thinking that, I was like, because if you look at their videos, they're very pretty, all of them,
Mm,
very nicely put together and very cinematic. I was like, how the hell do you represent that in a Beyond video? Do you know what I mean? Because the Beyond videos aren't like, it's not like a Wags video, is it? Where it sits down for 20 minutes and he sort of chats to you about it and how it works. So how do you get that across in a video which is compelling and kind of gets the point across to people? Because I always see these Beyond videos as they're kind of like almost like as much as they're to celebration for the people who fly DCS and stuff, they're also a little bit of a marketing tool. I mean,
yes.
obviously, always are, but I really see them as a marketing tool for them to try and get new partners and things like that. And then you also got to wonder if they're about things like MCS as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I wonder how they're going to represent this visually. It'd be interesting. I'm genuinely, you know, this little infographics quite cool with the red and the blue and stuff. It looks like something from was it War Games? Looks
Yeah,
like something from
it
that,
does a
doesn't it? A
little
little
bit.
bit.
Let's open this up to chat as well.
Mm.
Interpret this image for us and tell us what you think is shown off here, because I can tell you what I think. Of course, the top half, I believe, is Dynamic Campaign. Right down
Mm.
the middle there, of course, we have Eurofighter Typhoon. And the
Beautiful.
bottom, different people have been saying different things about the bottom. The one that I've seen mentioned at least a couple of times is Vietnam map.
Mm.
Now, I don't know if I zoom in on this, there's really not much to go on. Like, the only thing is that
Mm.
I see a palm tree. So, like, that could be anywhere. What
Yeah.
does chat think? I like that chat is saying teaser for a teaser, hype for the hype.
Yeah.
Alexander Kuzdin, someone pointed out that the building below the eagle's wing is in Saigon. So there you go. Somebody
Ooh,
saying that they think
interesting.
it's Vietnam.
I mean, that's the big one, isn't it? Is NARM, and if you consider how many DCS modules at the moment on at least, even if the variant isn't, they're all NARM jets. You know, you got the Intruder, Corsair, F4. We've already got MiG-21, UH-1. They're in the game, some of those, but then you've got, what's the other ones? I know there's more.
But the Loach,
Eight Loach, that's the mod. We've got the Sky Raider being worked on. We haven't heard much about that for a while, have we? We've got
of
that.
course, yeah.
Um, there's loads. Obviously, the
Airgis
Sabre.
is, yeah, Super Sabre. Airgis is bringing us the, is it, oh, what is it again? Is it the F-103 or whatever it is?
F-44. It's a Starfighter.
The
Yeah,
Starfighter. Yep.
that was in early in what do you call it, in Vietnam. So we're getting quite a lot of Vietnam modules.
Yeah.
So, or at least things that can slot into it. So yeah. Um I mean, arguably very early versions of Tomcat right there, right at the end, weren't they? So yeah, it's interesting. I think yeah. It would make sense that they might announce it. Do I think we'll get a Vietnam map in 2025? I don't think so. I don't think we'll get the Tonka in 2025, but I think it'd be early 2026. But um, I think we may get the Eurofighter this year. I don't think they would put that front and center in one of their teasers unless it was coming this year. But
Hmm.
that's maybe me. But
Oops. I cut you out
yeah,
there. Sorry about that.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that I like that take. I like that take. Like I would love to see the Eurofighter.
Hmm.
But we haven't seen that much about it. But maybe that's just it is heat blur. Sometimes that's their way. Let's
Mm.
just remind ourselves. Let's just remind ourselves what we're talking about here.
Oh yeah.
See a bit of this. I'm wondering if there's a way that I can make your. Yes, I can manage to keep you in the screen if I hold down Alt after Alt tabbing. Thank you, Discord, for being so weird. So this is what we're dealing with here. This is the teaser that we got of the Eurofighter Typhoon a little while back. What are people saying here? Golden GNU dynamic campaign and Eurofighter is everything I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, really cool intro. Of course, it's the music and the audio that make it. So sadly, we're missing
Yeah.
that. But still, we're going to see it smite a GF-17 in a moment, for reasons that I don't understand.
And we were talking before the stream, weren't we? We said that it's been pretty much bang on 30 years since EF 2000 game.
Yeah.
So yeah, 95 that came out. So
Yeah, and we're at
it's
the point
timely.
we're at the point now where the RAF is actually starting to work on the replacement for the Typhoon.
Yeah.
What is that thing called again?
Was it the Tempest?
The Tempest. Yes, yeah, the
Yeah.
Tempest. The pilot optional
Yeah.
aircraft.
And every time I keep seeing mock-ups of the thing, and it just looks like something from the Unreal store. It doesn't look like something that flies. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. This looks great. This looks great, and you're seeing the massive off-bore sight capabilities of the Iris T
Mm.
there as well. It just comes off the rail and like goes 90
Yeah.
degrees pretty much.
I wonder if we're going to get the Meteor. There's no reason
Uh,
we wouldn't, would we?
Maybe not at first, because the thing
Yeah.
is, we're initially getting like a Tranche 1 or a Tranche 2 or something like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't have Meteor, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. If we ever did, that thing's scary. That's a scary missile.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Because if it loses you, it looks for you again. It's just terrifying. It loiters.
Am I right in thinking that it has a boost and then a sustain, so it effectively has two motors?
Yeah.
Whereas even stuff like the AMRAM, it's a one shot. Like it accelerates and then cuts out, and that's it. Whereas the Meteor actually has another engine.
It's got a ramjet on it. Yeah, it's got the ramjet inlet. If you look at, is it at the bottom of it or on the side? It's got a big intake for it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then it will loiter. So if it loses you, like obviously in DCS, if you terrain mask or you spoof an AMRAM, it just goes dummy and goes silly and goes off into the direction. Whereas the Meteor will try and reacquire you, and it will sit around for a while looking for you again.
yeah,
Which is just that scares me. Stuff like that freaks me out.
yeah. It's pretty
Yeah.
nasty. Pretty nasty. Take me 45. You start on the upgrade replacement when you release the current. I don't know what that's referencing. Tiger Moto, they did say they had an agreement with MBDA, so Meteor is a definite maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alexander says the no escape zone of the Meteor is 60 kilometers.
Oh my god.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Pink Floyd, I call it the ex-wife.
Yeah. Oh dear. So there's
Funny.
80 people, 82 people in the stream right now. That's, I think, just about the most that we've ever had. So now would be a good time to say, hey, remember to subscribe, like, and comment. And if you want to further support the channel, you could do me a solid. No, don't shit yourself. You have the option of clicking the join button below, and for a small monthly fee, you could join Deepak's ground crew.
Yeah.
No. Simba 11. The Meteor doesn't fly around in circles looking for you. No. I know that.
Yeah.
But it does. Like it continues to compute like a position where you might be.
Yeah. That's a better way to put it. Yeah, it's not looking for you like a hound dog or whatever. It just it predicts where you might be based upon where it last saw you.
Yeah.
The
Exactly.
missile knows where it is based upon where it isn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. Alrighty. What was I going to say now? That's basically all the news we have for this week.
I think so.
However, as always, I will take a moment to imp the VAF, because the VAF is life. The VAF is love. The VAF, or the Virtual Air Force, is a virtual online squadron originally started by myself and Dot Chuckles many moons ago. We currently have squadrons flying the Harrier, F-16 and F-18, and we fly on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. UK time. And we're operating in kind of UK, EU time zones, just so you're aware. And we kind of alternate between training and missions and campaigns. So come join us. The Discord link is below. And you're very welcome to to join us and come fly with us. Alternatively, we're always looking for mission makers, scripters, ATC, livery makers, and all kinds of people. And you're very, very welcome to hang out in the Discord whether you fly with us or not. So go ahead, join the VAF. Click on that Discord link below. It's a good laugh.
Lovely bloke of chap. Lovely bloke of chaps. Group of chaps. Yeah.
Lovely group of
There you go.
chaps. Marvellous.
Yeah.
Simply marvellous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the VAF. So I'm going to do a big shout out to the current members of Deep Hack's ground crew, the people who've clicked that join button and are paying a small monthly fee. So thank you very, very much. Channel Right, JR Walker, Fishy's Canal, Mr. Yeti, Tech Tier 0, Sean IM81, John Bluer, Tea Kettle Barbecue, Whiskey Dale, Stuart McLean, Mangash, Exorcist, Frantic, Michael, Willow Wilson, Byron Farrow, Osprey, Snooblaren, Mad Dog, Max78, Pink Floyd, and Samantha. Thank you all very, very much for your support. And even if you don't want to go ahead and join Deep Hack's ground crew, you can support the channel by clicking subscribe, liking, or commenting on this video. That'd be a super big help. Tiger Moto, Deep Hack, do not forget to edit your email out of the video before posting one publicly. Have a great night, everyone. I already get a lot of spam anyway. I don't think it makes any difference. I'm sure none of you want to make my life too difficult.
Watch out. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Yeti, thank you very much. So, you've been John Bluer. You stream on twitch.tv/John Bluer.
You are correct, sir. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I remember the first few times I knew what your URL was and you didn't.
No, because I just hit home button. So it just sends me to where I am. Yeah.
Like everywhere he goes, he just sets the homepage to that.
Yeah. That would be a way to do it, innit? Go into the Apple Store and just set your homepage as a Twitch page. That'd be brilliant. You get loads of subscribers. Yeah.
Nice. And I've been Deepak. Every Saturday at about 6:30 p.m. UK time, I post a new tutorial video. Currently, it's a series all about the Apache, and that's going to continue next week. That's always followed by the DCS news, which just happens to be this thing, what you're watching right now. Thank you all very, very much for watching. Fly safe, and I'll see you all next time. Ta-ta.
Ta-da.